I'm a little bit nervous for this video, not out of fear, just out of confusion, I guess. I've now finished Game Theory's Ultimate Timeline video, and there were two words I kept seeing in the comment section: undeniably canon. All I can imagine is that it's a joke, a parody, but here's the thing I feel like I need to remind everyone about. The Five Nights at Freddy's series, Andrew, what is there a lot of?
Death.
Specifically of?
Children.
Yeah. So, parodying... Let's go. My remnant in it.
That's just a theory.
I'm not joking. I was about to go, oh, this guy really sounds like MatPat. That's weird.
A game theory. Thanks.
How much are they gonna roast Matt?
You look like you're interested in some FNAF lore.
This is creepy.
Sick of all the speculation? Do you want something that's undeniably canon?
Yes.
Oh.
Hold, excuse me. See the figurines? Does one of them seem out of place? I don't remember a squid animatronic, but holy shit, that sounds terrifying. Can you imagine? You're hearing all the FNAF sounds, all the horror you go. There's Chica sneaking up the hallway, clattering around in the kitchen, and then to the side of you, you just hear, Don't facepalm me, that was awesome! I have no clue what I'm watching.
The year was 1983, January to be exact. Local nobodies Henry Emily and William Afton were walking down the streets of Hurricane, Utah.
I feel like there's already been a couple of jokes, because he was like January to be exact. Is that just like, oh, he's pulling it out of his ass? But then he said, I think they're middle names. But the problem is, I don't remember if that's in the lore. He could just be like, oh, and William Afton was walking alongside with his friend with his webbed six-toed feet. And I'd be like, yep, I remember that from the lore videos.
Caught a glimpse of a yellow grizzly bear. It was then their fates were sealed, and they knew that they must fulfill their destiny.
Yellow.
Henry and William were something of robotics.
They just saw a grizzly bear in
finally
this?
used their untapped potential to create the most realistic animatronic bear imaginable. On their first attempt, they made a decrepit, muddy yellow bear.
I love how in 1 minute we've gone through like almost the entirety of the first video of the Ultimate Timeline. All right, I'll be fair, that's an exaggeration. But instead of all of this stuff, it's just they made animatronics and spooky.
William, however, remembered that in the trunk
Love that neck.
the cluster of discs that could emit audio frequencies that would fool people into seeing real bears.
Wait, into seeing just normal bears?
Not only did he look the part and have a voice like honey butter, but the mind-altering audio accidentally gave him sentience and cosmic power beyond our human understanding.
Let me give you an insight into what my brain is like. There was that sentence, and they were talking about a sentient yellow grizzly bear, and all I could think of, literally the only thing going through my mind was a few words, and those words were, what the f*** is honey butter? What's honey butter?
Until the entire town evacuated at the sight of this golden beast. Turns out, people are scared of loose bears.
Sorry, They said that the bear was sentient, but the bear isn't really there. He said that the discs made people think they were seeing a bear, but they're not actually seeing a bear. So obviously they're running because they're scared, but how is it dangerous? It's just, they're just seeing something that ain't there. How many rhymes am I gonna have with bear?
And he fled from the crime scene before law enforcement could get to him. William and Henry realized
the bear fled.
they were like a bit overzealous with their first creation.
But they didn't create anything.
Later that month, they designed an animatronic simply based on Ferdinand's likeness. This character was quite a downgrade, being both simpler and stupider.
And not a bear.
And with that, Fredbear was born. At first, they had nowhere to actually put him, so they opted for the dump. He was truly a diamond in the rough.
Okay. At first, they had no place to put him. I'm guessing that they're gonna move him, maybe, to a pizzeria. Or is the pizzeria just gonna get built around the dump? And it's like, oh, this place is a real dump.
And their attempts at granting him artificial intelligence quickly turned sour. On February 31st, 1980...
Okay, I gotta remember, this is not real, but I thought they were never trying to make artificial intelligence, well, maybe towards the end.
prompted him to spontaneously combust from a nervous breakdown.
Hell yeah, that's what I do too.
This also prompted William to threaten the United States government, and they met his demand
What?
to strike February 31st from the calendar forever.
Okay, terrorist.
In an attempt to both ease the animatronics' nerves and not allow them their legally required breaks, Henry and William created mechanisms that could lock the endoskeleton parts to the inner edges of the suit for a person to climb inside and cover for the character.
Is that why they made the spring locks? I never really followed that was the point.
For extra safety precautions, they created a partner for the new Fredbear 2.0 to ease his nerves. For some reason, the best name they came up with for Fredbear's partner was Spring Bonnie. William was insistent on this name.
Is that I mean, it's not a bad name, right? Kind of better than Fredbear, right? Better than Fredbear 2.0. Where's the originality, huh?
Where the safety precautions ended, however, was the fact that the spring locks holding the endoskeleton pieces away from a person's vital organs were made out of paper clips.
Oh, cool, good idea. Yep. What I like to do is make the things that could eviscerate me really flimsy. It's, I do that in my everyday life, isn't that right? Yeah. I've got like a hook right here at my desk that just flings out. All I have to do is like go, ha, and it just, out comes my bowels. Who needs them?
The dynamic duo had now created.
It just occurred to me that like, you don't hear what I'm listening to, so the shit I say, it must just be so out of nowhere for you.
Majority of the time, yeah.
Not only were Fredbear and Spring Bonnie beloved by the now enlightened Mormon
population of villager?
Utah, William even managed
Minecraft
to deal with a low-budget animation studio in order to make a cartoon called Fredbear and Friends.
This is something, look, it was mentioned in passing, it was talked about in the Law series. Where is the elaboration about what the heck the TV show was? Huh? There was a cartoon? Question mark. Weirder of its live action. About animatronics in a diner. I don't know. It feels weird, bro. But there's been no explanation. So, you know what? Whatever they say, that's the gospel truth to me.
One downside, though, was the studio needed...
They don't even tell me what it is. They're just like, well, here's how the studio felt. Tell me what the show is!
Finally regained custody of his children. However, one of his sons, whose name has been stricken from the record, waltzed into the back room of Fredbear's and saw Fredbear smoking a cigar. Fredbear's blatant nonchalance about his respiratory health was truly traumatizing for the child. In a panic, the child started to run out the door but accidentally tripped over the foot of Spring Bonnie. Unbeknownst to him, the animatronic was being worn by Harold the janitor, and this collision was enough to snap open the flimsy spring locks and impale Harold every which way.
How does the kid die?
Heartbroken by his untimely demise in his boss's backup fursuit, transformed into pure...
Oh man. Didn't I say that, look, isn't maybe William Afton just a furry? They call it his fursuit. Let's be real. That's what it is.
The child went home and invited his older brother, Michael, to play a game of Uno with him. This child was actually just a terrible human being and slid extra cards into the deck, causing Michael to draw 8 turns in a row.
Alright, I think he's about to tell me, but like, I kind of thought they'd go for a parody on how he died by the hands of the animatronic. Well, the jaw of the animatronic, really. But I didn't think it would go to playing a card game. Is Michael just gonna like murder him in cold blood? Too many draw 4s, now you must die.
Michael threw on a foxy mask and started screeching at the child. The child, annoyed by his behavior, decided to humor Mike until he got bored of doing this and pretended to sob 24/7. Maybe, just maybe,
always
this would guilt trip him.
What?
However, Michael was far more resilient than the child anticipated, and this behavior kept going for a whole week.
What is this? I keep seeing this. Like, what is this footage? CCTV? Is it a game? What? Like, even in the Ultimate Timeline one, this kid was just walking around openly weeping all over the place. But what is this from?
Walked into Fredbear's again in an attempt to face his fears before getting cornered by Trevor the cashier wearing a Fredbear suit. So the child deliberately ran into Trevor to set off the spring locks in this.
Oh my god!
Trevor's spirit, a bit relieved by the matter in all honesty, turned into a more chill shadow creature.
A bit relieved by death. Okay. So, instead of an adult just murdering a bunch of children, it is one child murdering a bunch of adults. So all the spirits are adults. Workers?
turned into a more chill shadow creature that just kinda walked around convincing people to join his conga line.
I mean, I would. I'd join the conga line.
The child was still committing to the crying act, but this was a bad idea as it just made them come up with the idea of shoving him in Fredbear's.
Oh, so he does still get
So?
chomped.
That's exactly what they did. They mockingly told the child to give Fredbear a big kiss, which the animatronic took immediate notice of.
How did the animatronic take notice?
Fredbear clamped down his jaw on the child's skull. This terrified Michael and his friends for about 5 seconds, until the child hopped out of it unscathed. Turns out William and Henry gave the animatronics rubber teeth. Great safety feature.
I feel like this is just so cathartic, because I said, granted, I was saying it about Circus Baby, I want to say the name is. I was like, why give the animatronics a feature like grabbing the child and ripping them apart inside them if you didn't want that to be a possibility? And it's nice to hear that vocalized in a different way. Like, hey, if you have animatronics, and especially if they're going to be around children, maybe, just maybe, don't make the teeth something that could just like crush a child. Is that something to think about?
And to do the job again. Mike didn't really know what this meant, but it sounded scary enough for his buddy Jeremy Fitzgerald II to knock the child unconscious with a chair.
Alright.
This only distressed Michael more.
What is this insane universe where people are just like, you have slightly annoyed me, you deserve death via spring locks, or to just get thwacked with a chair?
When the child awoke, he looked at Michael and told him that he never existed. When Michael asked what that was supposed to mean, the child fused with him and turned a little bit paler. This was just a very bad day for Michael. When he went to tell William about it, William had no clue what he meant by little brother.
So the little brother is just magic?
But, turns out, the employees at Fredbear's called the police because Harold and Trevor's body.
That's not fun, is it? You like that? You like, I mean, you know, he doesn't look too happy about his head being used as a phone. I don't think I would be either. It just seems like this is an everyday thing. Oh yeah, every time I make a phone call, it's gonna rip a co-worker's head off. Don't you?
In 1985, they finally opened a new location. With the amount of money they had earned from Fredbear's, they were locally capable of buying out a new restaurant space with ease.
Did they rename, or they're just like, oh yeah, no, we're just gonna actually use all the same branding as the place that just left 2 dead bodies out there for all the children to see, and also had a child, oh, I was gonna say die, but not die, get bitten, sort of, but not really, by an animatronic, and then sent to the hospital after someone smacked him with the chair, and then disappeared entirely from existence. Although I guess William is apparently not aware of that even happening, because he's like, the child was just obliviated from his memory. This is whack.
Fredbear was publicly executed 2 years prior. So, William and Henry did the unthinkable. They made animatronics of the cartoon characters they had.
LOL.
They added another character to the band to distract people. Mirabella. Given the fact that she didn't have overtly feminine characteristics, though, Henry and William renamed her Chica to make sure any Spanish speakers knew she was a girl. There was one last cartoon character they could use, Foxy the Pirate. Henry was fine with the concept, but William hated it. For the time being, the partners settled on shoving him in the corner of the building.
Oh, this is so sad.
As more and more children flocked around Foxy's Pirate Cove, William immediately ran up and kicked the poor animatronic in the kneecaps.
Why is everyone awful?
And William tore him up after closing to ensure it would stay that way.
So are they conscious or not? Because he seems sentient and he's showing a lot of emotions. So William just like dismantling him in the back is like, really? Like, that's a lot, my friends.
Henry and William were truly living the life. They lost their beloved gold handles.
How is anyone coming to this place?
Hey, can I borrow $5? Yeah, sure.
Well, not actually this specific day. It was 2 days after.
I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
William, after a long day of work, was
How does Charlotte die?
maybe wondering why he didn't just eat dinner at Freddy's, but truth be told, he hated the pizza there. They blew all their budget on good tablecloths.
What belief in his own business?
Hello, I'd like an original Angus burger and a large Coca-Cola.
Voice man.
This was the moment that William Afton snapped.
Where are my $5?
$5. Didn't he give him the $5?
William sped 1 mile over the speed limit and pulled up at Freddy's to enact revenge on Henry. However, by pure chance, Henry's daughter Charlie was locked out of the building. William, attempting to help her back in, looked at her in the eyes trying to explain his plight. However, with the rage in his heart at that very moment, his mere stare was a death sentence. Charlie flopped over immediately from this.
This is such a weird thing. So he was enraged because he forgot that he lended him $5. Came back, saw his daughter at the front of the restaurant, and then accidentally killed her with a stare. You know, at this point, like, why not? William Afton? Demon.
After this, the restaurant security puppet, designed to keep track of the children assigned to it, walked out of the building to find Charlie. When it got to her body, her soul grew an attachment to the character, and she stuck around in hopes a new body would be made so she could
into
fuse
the
with it.
what? Into the puppet?
He could quickly and quietly send a horrible message to Henry.
To start killing everyone? Killing Henry?
He quickly equipped his spring bodysuit and darted around the restaurant telling kids that their dead dogs were alive in the safe room with Old Man Jenkins.
Oh my
None of
god.
them
Oh, so he does still kill children in this. But how did he work out how to actually kill people with his death stare? He did it accidentally. Well, he hasn't done that his entire life, does it once, and he's like, oh, now I have mastered this. Time to start slaughtering children. First thing I do when I discover a new power.
William waltzed into the safe room with 5 total children inside, but before he could do anything, the child named Cassidy kicked him in the shins so hard it knocked the pink out of him.
And triggered the springlock suit.
He was still made livid by this attempt on his life, so he stared down each one and took them out. William wondered if perhaps he had gone overboard with his evil deeds.
Yeah, man.
Figured that 5 children for $5 was a reasonable trade-off. As a disclaimer to all of you at home, murder is bad. Meanwhile,
Hey, they're stealing my stances.
Trevor the cashier, at this point dubbing himself Shadow Freddy, convinced Andrew to
I've completely forgot about the cashier. Wait, he's convincing him to participate in something? I thought he was chill. I thought he was chill like that.
Unfortunately, Shadow Freddy's favorite spot to wrap up his conga lines was the safe room, and the two just so happened to
Conga line of
William
death.
finished stuffing 4 of the children into the animatronic suits. William, surprised by his sudden extra child, accidentally gave him the death stare, and now he was left with an extra body to stuff.
What if he death stares the shadow guy?
This, however, is when he realized
no.
that he could just stuff both Cassie and Andrew into the Fredbear suit.
Yeah, why not, man?
After this, he left the building like nothing happened and drove home to sleep in his safe and comfy spring bonnie pajama suit. It was
I don't know how this has managed to be more insane than I expected. He doesn't even seem troubled. He's just like, oh yeah, you know, it's every day that you kill children at $1 a head, right? And then I'm just gonna sleep all stuck. He's wearing a bow tie. There's something you can kill people. No, I mean you can't. Don't kill people. But if you are gonna kill someone, it feels especially monstrous to go home and sleep in a bow tie. Any formal wear. That just feels extra weird, doesn't it?
After this point, Henry was very obviously devastated. However, he had no idea who actually did it. The cameras were broken, and the only accusations were that someone did it while in a mascot costume.
Oh, so the shadow guy doesn't even know?
Fortunately, Freddy's didn't get shut down for this, and Henry attempted to keep things going for a while. William had sent him a letter saying he was off on vacation for the time being, so Henry was left to handle finances on his lonesome.
Where did he even go?
The animatronic smelled horrible, and everyone finally noticed just how bad the pizza tasted.
And also just how many children are dying.
The restaurant shut down. Henry decided to take a break from it all, and when William returned from vacation, he realized he could seize this up.
Vacation? How long has it been gone? Like a year? He's just like, alright, peace, man. I know we're 50-50 partners, but good luck. I'm gonna be on the beach.
Opportunity and make a pizzeria with complete creative control.
Oh, he's just gonna split off?
His daughter, Elizabeth, served as the perfect muse, and he proceeded to make an animatronic that looked nothing like her.
Yeah. I feel that's how I think.
He suddenly got the idea to use Baby for a different purpose than simple entertainment. He discovered a substance that he called Remnant. His new idea entailed having Baby and a new set of animatronics themed after her work together in order to collect more Remnant from children. So, he made Funtime Freddy and Bon Bon for easy marketing appeal.
Again. Right. I understand they're scientists, but how do they just know? They're like, yes, I see these animatronics up walking about, being sentient, even though they were just stuffed with the dead bodies of children. I would go, wow, some freaky deaky supernatural shit is happening here. I don't think I'd look at that and go, right, let me just intensely analyze the metal and see if I can work out exactly what substance the soul has fused to and how to harvest more of that. I don't think I'd be able to do that. I'd be too busy running in the other direction.
Finally remade Foxy in his own vision, stripping all of that filthy pirate gimmick from him.
What's his problem with pirates, man?
Finally, William made a character named Ballora. This one wasn't made for murder purposes so much as it was made out of contempt. For who?
Who's?
His ex-wife, Eleanor Schmidt.
Okay, out of nowhere.
He craved to make an animatronic that was better at ballet than her. She was an accountant, so this was easy. However, upon coming to William's house to pick up Elizabeth for a week,
I didn't put together that sentence. To make an animatronic that was better at ballet than her. And I was like, oh wow, I guess she's a dancer. No, accountant. So she doesn't even do ballet. So then just make an animatronic that can do one ballet move, mission accomplished.
angered by the fact that this character was better at ballet than her,
Why would she give a shit?
she fused with Valora in a fit of rage,
Intentionally?
and now William was stuck with a robot wife that danced around his workshop every day.
I thought she was his ex-wife.
Opened this brand new sister location of Freddy's named Circus Baby's Pizza World.
You know, I just want to say I'm not a criminal. I don't do these sorts of things. But in this world, if I saw that, I'd consider arson.
Elizabeth joined a party and ignored his specific demands not to see Baby. To William's surprise,
God.
children don't listen to you if you say not to play with something they want.
Yeah,
As a
and
result,
she's gonna get
Baby's
grabbed.
motor equipment activated as soon as Elizabeth was alone with her. William instantly shut down development on the restaurant. He was very distraught over this, which maybe he should have considered before trying to murder more children.
Yeah, and also letting your daughter go around something that you've specifically designed to murder children.
And instead went back to Henry for them to start work on a new Freddy's location.
Right back to Henry.
However, William caught sight of Foxy and formed a new idea in his head out of pure hate.
What is he doing now with
His
Foxy?
idea for the new design philosophy of the animatronics he had in mind. He introduced a newfangled plastic finish, flashy makeup,
What does Foxy have to do with this? He said he saw Foxy and had an idea, and then just started talking about all this stuff that had nothing to do with Foxy. What's with the Foxy hate? Ugly and red. I like Foxy.
people were flocking to it. Why did they put so much trust in this new
Yeah,
location?
why?
Simple. Henry and William advertised that there would no longer be terrible pizza. This is because they got rid of the kitchen.
No one cares about the dead children as long as the food slaps. Actually, I say that, but there's not even food anymore. We apologize for all the children that have died in our premises. To make up for it, we're not going to serve pizza anymore. It's just going to be a place for your children to come, hang out, have fun, and die.
The kids now flocked to Toy Foxy's Kids Cove to tear him apart and put her back together.
Why?
They thought they could make him look better, but without technical experience, she looked less like a pirate and more like a metal tumble.
God, the poor thing.
And so he enacted a second missing children's incident to cripple the restaurant's success.
With a knife? Not a death stare.
He saw the camera recordings of Spring Bonnie luring children to the safe room and realized that William was behind this the entire time.
Something that he probably could have figured out if he had paid even a tiny little bit of attention in the past.
And told him to never show his face again. William realized that
Andrew, you see your business partner for a pizzeria luring children to the back room to kill them. You know he's done this before. Do you call the police? Do you make an announcement? Do you tell anyone? Or do you just say, hey man, get the fuck out? Even if it was just this whole capitalist like, oh, well, he needs to make money. Do you go, ah, yeah, this guy, totally willing to murder a whole bunch of children. Trustworthy. If I tell him to get out, he won't come back. He's willing to murder kids, but not lie.
he stole the name Dave Miller
What?
and applied for a job as a night guard at the location.
Wait, it's him as the guard in this.
He saw the puppet floating around, whispering to everything it could see. This made him wonder if this was actually Charlie, but he
Why?
didn't care enough to check.
Why did he just... Oh, never mind. I was like, that was so out of left field. But I forgot that, you know, he knows about the whole, like, kids possessing animatronics thing. Imagine just being like, oh yeah, there's this kid that I killed, and then also this animatronic hanging around whispering to kids. Yeah! They're the same.
William hadn't bothered actually stuffing them anywhere, so the puppet guided them to select
left
new
'em.
vessels of their own.
What's up with them just leaving bodies all over the place and being like, oh, am I gonna get caught?
Also, he kept going into the parts and service room to kick the old Foxy animatronic in the shin.
He has no idea how to lay low.
Balloon Boy wasn't going to let Jeremy get away free, though, and proceeded to publicly attack him and bite out his frontal lobe.
What? This is like the most cursed food store of all time. Sorry, not even a food store anymore. Why would people come to this place? Be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna come along and look at animatronics dance, I guess, and sing, and also rip out the brains of people. And also there's a chance my child would die.
Henry, spooked by the idea of a sock monkey with a clown mask coming back to haunt him, started making
That's
blue-
very valid. It is a horrifying looking thing.
Henry had his sights set on repairing and reusing the old animatronics for one last attempt at the pizzeria business without Will.
Wait, Henry's doing this now.
This plan was easier said than done. Henry, with all of his financial incompetence,
And all of the bad press.
he briefly attempted a public fund to try and get money. After a day of
87% less murders.
Exactly.
But still some murders. We gotta keep our shtick. That's our hook. You say parents who don't want their children anymore, come here and there is a small chance they will die. Actually, not even small chance. A, decent chance they'll die.
Henry was broke, sure, but he had some powerful resolve. So he decided to steal back the building he and William used in 1985 to...
Steal a building.
Despite this being very much illegal, nobody actually wanted to use the building given its history.
Yeah,
So
and all the hauntings.
after about a year, he managed to open it back up with somewhat new animatronics.
Where is this going? And is he serving pizza again?
The most loyal employee of
The
Fazbear,
phone guy?
only known by his coworkers.
I didn't even read that it said phone guy. I just called him the phone guy because I was like, hey, he's the guy and he's a phone. I forgot that literally there's a guy called phone guy and he is a visual representation of phone guy. Me, little bit slow.
Was assassinated by the animatronic.
And he's dead.
His final
Yay.
working the night shift due to looking suspiciously purple.
He's blue, bro.
William, still being unemployed and bored, decided now was a good time to take revenge on Henry.
What? For what? I know that in the real story, he has at least some reason for being angry. He still shouldn't be killing kids, but there's at least something there. In this, he's slaughtered a whole bunch of kids, or he's exacted some revenge. He's killed Henry's daughter for $5, and now he's like, oh, I need more revenge. Why? For what? What's he done?
The average family could have a giant chrome animatronic shipped to their doorstep to throw parties for their children. What could go wrong? Well, baby's eyes were green. For a moment, William thought he just misremembered her eye color, but then she started talking to him.
And starts attacking children.
William was delighted by his son's return, as he was conveniently useful for his newest plot against Henry. William had prepared makeshift animatronics with dangerously high safety hazards.
So he only did this later in the story?
After roughly a week of watching Mike handle the process, William noticed something went wrong. Something broke.
This is just like full-on torture.
He discovered some discarded audio discs lying on the ground. It was Ferdinand von Bernard. Having wandered the wilds of Utah for exactly a decade,
Oh my god, I forgot they actually made this freaky ass looking thing.
but Mike was resilient, and he managed to avoid Ferdinand long enough that he got bored, reapplied his audio discs, and finally wandered away. Given the unplanned attack on Michael,
That's so anticlimactic. Oh, how did you actually end up defeating him? Oh, I just kind of avoided him for a bit, and then the bear just was like, whatever. Not worth it. Peace.
and gaslit Mike into believing it was all just a nightmare before changing the subject to getting a job.
For Michael getting a job?
William told Mike that he should apply using his mother's maiden name rather than Afton. That way he doesn't draw attention to himself for being related to everyone's favorite former manager, of course. After working an extra night and being applauded by Henry, he was then instructed by William to sabotage the animatronic.
When does he get scooped?
Why do I need to disable their AI? It builds character. And Henry still owes me $5.
But
Michael-
you already exacted your version of revenge for that. How does he still owe you the money?
So he decided to do the exact opposite and crank them all up to the maximum setting to challenge himself for the end of his week. But due to the animatronic scent rubbing
Why?
off on him, Henry fired him for body odor and inadvertently caused a personal grudge. Before leaving, Mike snuck into the back and disabled all of the animatronic systems to spite Henry. Now that the animatronics
So now they're all
didn't work,
defunct?
everyone stopped caring about Freddy's again. Henry's profits plummeted, and he was ultimately forced.
But doesn't he also have like an engineering degree? Can't he fix them?
William had needed Freddy's closed for more reasons than just spite. The Fun Times Remnant collection was not working as frequently as he hoped, and if he wanted to understand the substance at all, he needed more of it quickly. So he made sure he
Well,
had
how
free
does
rein
that-
to tear apart the animatronics to harvest their remnant.
Oh, the old ones. Okay. Is he still gonna get spring locked?
But then he remembered Michael had completely deactivated them, and they would only move if the souls possessing them were motivated enough to. Luckily,
Like
Shadow
seeing
Freddy
his
suddenly
face?
appeared, and William bribed him to start a conga line leading into the safe room so he could dismantle all.
How would the shadow guy even care about money? This is useful to me.
William was able to tear them apart using nothing but his bare hands,
These poor animatronics, man. They've been through it.
and formed into the visible spirits of the missing children. Terrified that they might be able to kick him in the shins, he ran to.
Not the shins!
Feeling empowered despite this accomplishing nothing, William began to laugh at the ghosts. But in his self-indulgent celebration, he failed to realize
He's dabbing. William Dabton.
the duct tape holding back the spring locks had fallen off.
So he does still get...
Ceiling
Yeah,
proceeded to
alright.
The spring lock failures these suits cause are painful enough to consistently cause so much agony that life is maintained in some way. While Harold the janitor
In some way, we can simply explain it away by saying, in some way, he clung on because he was in so much pain. which is a thing that works.
Realizing he wasn't gonna properly die anytime soon, William Afton came up with a new name for his new form. He called him...
He renamed himself.
Springtrap. And with that, we end this chapter of the timeline.
Okay, so, I don't know. Usually I have something to say, but that scattered me all over the place. It did its job. It was weird. It satirized very, very effectively. And I liked it, especially since all the lore was fresh in my brain from the other timeline videos. If you'd like me to continue this whack-ass series, just let me know in the comments, because I get the feeling this is gonna go even more off the rails as we continue. And I gotta tell you, that excites me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.